Oh, baby, we're back, and I just finished my dump perfectly in time. Oh my God, that was the best time I've ever had ever. I literally finished it just about 2 seconds ago, and now we're back in the saddle, and we're ready for another big day, And as always, I'm gay, you're gay, we're all gay, and we're here to be homos together as Bitcoin falls apart and the crypto market goes all the way to literally zero. The sky is falling once again, as it typically is, and this time it's going to be worse than it ever was before, and whatever the past, it's going to be even worse than that. Yes, that's right. That's how these things work. And that's how things will continue onwards and forwards from here. We love it. We love it indeed. I love a nice girthy red dildo day, as do I'm sure most people here, because that's when people actually join in to watch these things, which makes it a lot more fun, to be honest. But yeah, plenty to speak about today. I've actually been looking at the old Z-derp right here just to see when this thing's going to actually fall apart. But at least it looks like Bitcoin wants to lead the charge, which with all sorts of downside price action. Of course, we'll be going over that today. We'll be focusing a big portion on that, looking at some traditional markets as well. I see a lot of great comments in here to start off the early day as well. It's really beautiful. In fact, I saw a really great comment actually at the beginning of this stream from Lev Ashen, and I just want to highlight this because I love this. I fucking love this so much. In the most sincere tone, all jokes aside from the beginning of this stream, I love seeing this. And he says, I've been here since 2020 and your content sounded like Chinese at the time. That's very common statement. Common statement, actually. You are not the only person. And of course, that's just how it's going to be, you know, when you jump into this world and you have no real experience before that. That's exactly how I felt when I was getting involved in this whole space. But of course, as you get saturated with it, you start to learn and you go on to say learn so much since and improved so much as a trader. So I just wanted to give you my gratitude for doing this. Much love, man. Much love to you as well, man. This is who I really love to do these streams and content for. You know, the people who are going to put in a little bit of the extra work to really go the extra mile and actually, you know, learn this stuff, because you can, you know, you really can make a living income if you do learn the skill of trading. If you actually learn the skill of investing, you can actually not just make an income, but you can make real wealth, and that's actually honestly a little bit easier, I would dare say, but it just requires a little bit more upfront, of course, a little bit more of that old income. So that's why income generating skills, whether it be trading, whether it be working a regular job, whether it be, I don't know, doing whatever the fuck you can do to generate some income, that is always going to be the basis of it. But if you can generate that, then the investments will come and the wealth will follow. The wealth will follow if you make the right investments, which means we're buying all the shit coins, right? Right, guys? Right? God, I swear, I'm being trolled from all angles. I'm being trolled from all angles. When I go onto my Discord, when I go onto Twitter, I don't really go onto Twitter, but when I look at YouTube and I get these notifications, you would think that alt season is always happening. The alts are so strong, bro. How could these alts be so strong? It must be the alt season. Bitcoin can't be going down now. The alts are too strong, bro. Don't you know? Haven't you seen, bro? Alts, alts, bro. What's going on with my alts, bro? I don't understand. My alts are fucking wrecked because I'm looking at the actual chart that represents alts right here, and they are absolute fucking dog shit as usual. Crazy. What a fucking amazing idea. It's as if nothing has really changed. Wow, a down-only chart continues to go down-only, and alts go back into the fucking gutter where they belong. Amazing. Oh, are you telling me that Fartcoin is down at 25 cents back to the lows that we saw from earlier this year? What? Are you kidding me, man? These people just don't even know. They don't even know the real technology. It has a community. Yes, we have a community, guys. Community is what it's all about, bro. I heard it on the internet, and if you have a community, then that means everyone has to buy, because community is what really propels price action to the upside. We love that, man. We love that, bro. Yeah, man. I don't know. Shitcoin chills in disbelief as usual. Bitcoin chills also in disbelief perhaps as well. We've been having a downside bias on this channel for a while now. However, I've still been unwilling to call it, an actual bear cycle. I just think that there's more downside, and if it turns into a bear market, it turns into a bear market. But I still think that there's more downside here. This is going to take a while for Bitcoin to kind of figure itself out. I mean, ultimately, we are seeing the unraveling of the 6-digit price point for Bitcoin here, unfortunately, after living above it for, I think, about half a year, actually. Let's just count this one out. Basically since June, so a little bit less than 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working on month number 6 right now. It almost made it. We all almost made it, but we didn't, and now we're fucking wrecked. Anyways, a few more sippy sips of this. What's up, caretaker? The future of finance and also the future of France as well. That's right. I've been having so much fun in the Discord recently. We have the best characters, honestly. We really do. It is so fucking good, man. If you're not already a part of the Discord, check it out in the link in the description below. I do want to warn you, though, if you are sensitive in any sort of way, it's probably not going to be a good fit for you. And also, if you are not lobotomized, meaning that you are normal, it's probably also not going to be good for you as well. This is only for the most crazy of fucking lobotomites out there in the world, but these are my people. These are my people, and I've been having such. Last night I was laughing my fucking ass off, man. It's so funny. What were you gonna say? Elsa would also like to remind everyone, if you do get offended in the Discord, if there is something that you do not like in the Discord, please do not send her wall of text emails or messages. She will not respond, or at least should not respond. But yeah, man, that's it. That just is what it is. Anyways, it is free to join the Discord. Like I said, there is a link in the description below. But hey, it's a fucking wild, wild west out there, and I'm not going to be giving you any more warnings on top of that. Anyways, I got a little bit more of this premium coffee, which I've been massively enjoying recently. Let's see as we read through the comments. Well, what's up, Peter Underwood? Good morning to you, man. Also had a really good laugh watching your AI videos with it was like some such massive obese English woman with a like a train of obese children, like getting their McDonald's. I don't know how to explain it. And she's speaking in her thick English accent, which of course, as a poor American, I can't understand that shit. I can't understand you speak some fucking American. Anyways, sly glances from Malta, sly glances from the States here. Don't really know much about Malta, but I do hear it's quite beautiful over there. Krown, I'm scared. Please hug me. That's right. We can all huddle hands together and pray to Bear Jesus. Dear Bear Jesus, deliver us from these red dildos. We must once again embrace the death. We must once again embrace the destruction. We must once again destroy all alts. That's right, Bear Jesus. Take the wheel, Bear Jesus. We love Bear Jesus. Pray to Bear Jesus. Give your life over to Bear Jesus and let him drive your decisions going forwards. That's exactly right. It looks like you have a giant pink penis in the background. It actually is it's a very common misconception, but it is actually not a giant penis. It is, in fact, as I will show you in a moment, it's a chair. It's actually a chair. It's Elsa's chair. It's her favorite chair. But unfortunately, it will be going to the trash very soon. It's going to be thrown away, just like all of your shit coins. Anyways, price going up equals good technology. Price going down equals bad tech. No. Don't be silly about that, man. Don't be silly about that. But hey, what's this? Are we seeing the monthly MACD cross to the downside? Obviously, it's intra-month here, but yeah. As I've been saying, like, I don't, if people are calling for, the macro cycle to be over and it's down only from here, I don't hate that call. I'm just not subscribing to it just myself just yet. But, I do think that there is downside, and it might, very well might evolve into that. I don't really want to be calling market cycles here ultimately, because it's easy enough to just ride on the trend. And the trend right now is down. The trend right now is down on any time frame that is lower than a monthly, basically. So yeah, ugly as fuck, man. I want the chair. Sure, you can have the chair if you like. You just got to make it over here to Florida, and I don't know, take it away, and all good, man. All good. We also got a couch too, if you want. Couch is good. Anyways, bullish on Jesus. Yes, we need some more bull Jesuses. That chair is a penis. I don't care what you say. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I guess we've been found out now. Oh, well. Anyways. Michael Saylor, liquidated soon, says Peter. I've heard about this throughout the years, that Michael Saylor is going to be forced to sell at a certain price. I've always seen a competing narrative with this, and I've never really seen the hard math that actually proves he has a liquidation point, or he has a pain point, or so on and so forth. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But until I see something that's very, very concrete, I don't want to, fall into these sort of narratives which just lack proof, basically. I don't want to be that kind of guy on social media who's just, throwing out bullshit like that, that he has no way of proving. So that's why I stick to price, because at least price is pure. Price we can actually prove. The price that you see on the screen right here quite literally is the price of one coin at the moment at $95,575 and, 0.01 cents. It's actually moving around quite a fair bit there. Anyways, he can't be liquidated, says Snake Corleone. Yes, I've also heard of this as well. And from what I understand, that actually does make the most sense. He can't get liquidated, but he might be a forced seller at some point, which I guess is kind of similar to liquidation. But I don't know, man. The problem for me with MicroStrategy, and the problem that MicroStrategy has always been for me, is that their structure with how they've taken on loans and how they've leveraged themselves has gotten too complicated to the point where I don't understand it. And if I don't understand it, I'm not saying that it has to be a scam. It's just I'm not gonna fucking get into that. I'm not gonna speculate on it because it just goes over my head. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it, and that's a sign to me to just avoid, And hey, if you feel like you understand it, then fucking go for it, man. I'm happy for you, but I ain't that person. Anyways, 39 degrees in Florida this week. Very bear signal. Yeah, it does really feel like someone flipped on the damn AC here. What? It's fine now. Yeah, it wasn't that bad this morning. But yeah, it is definitely getting a lot colder here, man. Maybe a sign of the times as well. Auth says, "Oh my God, we're all doomed. My tendies, it's over. Sell it all." That's right. Mom needs to make us some tendies, and I'm buying tendy coin to get my fucking sandwiches without the crusties on the sides on the blockchain as well. We need it on the blockchain. That's right. That's where all this shit goes, right? Tesla trading like Fartcoin. Let's see what Tesla's doing, actually. I'm curious. I haven't looked at traditional markets this morning, but yeah, we're still pre-market here. 9 minutes to go until the actual market open. Now trading below $400. So this is actually starting to look a little bit more like it could be a nastier pullback, not just a technical pullback, but an actual short-term reversal. Yesterday did fill the gap, and seeing that as it is opening below that gap, that is not a good sign. So there is very likely more downside to come. But is it entering into like a real downtrend from here? I don't know. There's still a lot of areas of stoppage along the way. In fact, going to be opening up right on the weekly 21 EMA. So probably at least tries to bounce off of that. And if that does fail, probably somewhere down around here at about 350. The old 350 price. 350. Yes, tree fitties indeed. Anyways, NASDAQ, as we went over on Wednesday, looking for that move down below 25. We're getting that now, but this is now actually looking like it is emerging into a downtrend. So we do have a reversal that is tangible here. We have a lower high based off of Wednesday's price action, and of course coming back down to that prior local low, which was a higher low from the 7th of November, 1 week ago Friday. The bias has to be now, at least for me, on a trend flip here, a reversal. Now, it's technically not confirmed until we actually close below that low, so that would be 24,709. So it's going to be a long day to go here, 7 hours, 47 minutes, and 4 seconds and counting. But if you do see a closure below there, then yeah, you do have a technical reversal, and I do have to switch on to just looking for general downside here. I guess the next area of interest for a stoppage, or at least a bounce, is going to be somewhere down around 24 even or 24 100. It's going to be that last price action pivot from 21 150, which is your lows from early October, and then also that weekly 21 EMA. Again, I just want to highlight that the price action pivot indicator, just beautiful in that it almost always gets these perfectly. And I also do want to start to present the price action pivots indicator in the similar vein that I've been presenting the HPAS over here. Almost every time you see a first test into one of these price action pivots, you almost always get a scalpable move. It's not going to be a home run play. These are not home run plays. They're not going to make you rich in one fucking trade. But if you add all those singles up over the course of, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, that's going to start to be real money. So yeah, if you do see the approach there, I'd be at least looking for a bounce on the first pass. I imagine SPY's more or less the same thing here, a little bit stronger. It's not necessarily at that prior low just yet. So tech is kind of leading this downside, at least between these two. But again, long day left to go. Same area for SPY futures here would be 66.50, closing below there. Then yeah, you have a lower high and a lower low. That makes me, bearish on the daily, looking for a continuation of this downtrend, probably reaching that last prior low. I guess the question is, what happens if things get really crazy? What's kind of like a max down target for a super crazy downside move? This is probably unlikely, at least in the short term, but probably somewhere around that, daily 200 simple. But again, that's well and far away right now. Not even worth talking about until we're at least in downtrend territory. But yeah, it is rather interesting. The government closes, price goes up. Government opens up, price goes down. maybe we should just close the fucking government. How about that? No more big government. Just get rid of it all. Fuck you, government. Go away. Just kidding. Okay, we like our government. We just don't like too much of it, you know? Too much of anything is bad, right? Too much of anything is bad, and too little of anything is also probably bad as well. We want to be somewhere healthily in the middle, not trying to overdo ourselves here. Black Friday, says Amir Remer. Perhaps, yes. I mean, I don't know. Is it a Black Friday typically means that there is deals? Well, I guess there is kind of deals here, but I don't know, man. I don't think that this makes sense as of right now for a low. This is very likely going to go at least a little bit lower. I'd imagine at least to $92,000. That is one of the most recent, gaps on CME here. That's about 91,500 between there and that blue 377 EMA, which is $92,500. I like that for a good pocket of, the next sort of area of interest to the downside on at least getting a bounce somewhere around there. I'm going to release a video tomorrow with Fibbo Swanee. He's going to be going over his very, very long-term view, but I do want to just highlight one of the main points of his video right now, just in case it becomes relevant in the short term before that video comes out tomorrow morning. But his major pivot point for this market is basically about $88,000. As long as you're above there, bull market still theoretically could be good. Closing below there, then we got real nasty problems, sirs and zers, unfortunately. He might even be here as well. What's up, Cavman? No more big government. bunch of pussies. Fair enough. How much of U.S. economy is government? Actually, a lot of it, Jeff B. Apparently, a lot of our economy is the government in America, and also a lot of our GDP is just consumer spending, which is kind of weird. I don't know, man. The economy is a very, very complicated thing. That's why I don't really try to make actual commentary on the economics, even though I was an economics major in college. And although I could probably come up with some bullshit explanation, I don't actually think it's true, or at least I have no way of proving that it's true, more importantly. And at the end of the day, man, all of those theories sound good in theory, but in practice, most of them fall apart. So that's why I continue to rely on price action more or less. 44% of spending in the U.S. is government. That is fucking wild, man. Yeah, I mean, we are more socialistic than people give us credit for, to be honest. I also was like really, really surprised because obviously, one of the big things in Europe is that you get free healthcare, you get free this, you get free that. Obviously, it's not free. You pay for it with your taxes, or basically the rich people pay for it with their taxes, and the poor people get taxed a lot there as well. But here, you actually do have a lot of social services as well. So, it really isn't as bad as many people make it out to be. I mean, I don't know where those commentaries come from, but somehow the Americans have figured out how to do it with at least not completely killing the middle class with taxes, and also not necessarily the upper class as well. So I don't know, man. Where do things go from here? Who the fuck knows? But most likely down, at least for the old corns, until we find, I'd imagine, at least 92. 92 on a more optimistic stand, maybe 88 on a more pessimistic stand. And hey, that's assuming that this market is still going, because like I said, and we're going to go over this once we actually get to the content of today, but I really want to acknowledge here, in my opinion, this is a big deal. This has been a big portion of all of my prior cycle analysis, just kind of blindly saying, hey, don't be bullish whenever this is happening. Whenever you see the monthly MACD crossing to the downside, especially freshly, the cycle high has been in for multiple months every fucking time in the past. So like I said, the people who are calling bear market on, I don't necessarily disagree with them. I'm just, I'm just bearish. And then, I want to take this one step at a time, one leg at a time. Let other people have the glory in this case. But yeah, same thing over here in 2014. You see the cross to the downside. That was basically after the bull trap of 2014. The high was in, many months before that. Of course, over here in 2017, 2018 cycle, you can see the cross happened back in July of 2018. The high was in December of 2017. So again, more or less getting your bull trap of that cycle, and then down only basically. And then same thing again, actually right before the Rona dump, which was rather impressive. Very few things actually, gave you a bit of a warning before the Rona dump, but that was actually one of them. And then of course in 2021/2022, crossed to the downside right before the bull trap of that cycle as well, and then down only. And well, once again, we're potentially getting across to the downside here. It is intra-month, obviously. It is literally just about the midpoint of this month, a little bit before the midpoint of this month. Being that it is the 14th day of November, and November has 30 days, so tomorrow will be the midpoint. But, as it stands right now, it really does look like things want to at least come down to that yellow 20 21 EMA. And also, now that we're here, we can also look at this price action pivot trend line right here as likely kind of corroborating that. A little bit higher, to be fair, at about 89,000 bucks. But again, I like the confluence that I see there. Also on a regular scale, actually, we're kind of, slicing through it right now. But ultimately, that's really going to depend on where we are at, literally at the end of November. Of course, the other major thing that we were looking at on this channel for this month, or opening up into this month, that was suggesting a bit of caution, at least on the higher term timeframes, that could be construed as, potentially cycle over, is monthly RSI bearish divergence. And we have 1, 2, 3 drives here coming off the last few highs. And generally, the easy target for that is going to be at least the yellow 21 EMA. And again, that is about 87,000 bucks. If it does go for the more extended target, which I don't know, man, you're definitely going to see a bounce before that, but I guess it would be the green moving average, but that's well and far away right now. I don't think it's any major concern right now. That's again why I do want to take this one leg at a time, because we are dealing with major, massive numbers here for Bitcoin. So it's like you very well might be right about this market cycle going into a bear leg, for sure. But at the end of the day, because these numbers are so damn big, when you get a bounce, these things can bounce like 10,000 bucks or more and still remain in what is a downtrend right now. For reference, your last lower high, which is not even a super important one in my book, would be 107.5. That is more than a $10,000 away from where price action is currently right now. In my opinion, the most important lower high that we've seen that would immediately make me a mega fucking massive bull, bigger bull than St. Anna when price goes up more than 1%, would be price going back above that October 26 swing high right here at about 116. That's a big one in my book. Sorry, 116.5. As long as Bitcoin's below there, you have to favor the downside, have to respect the bear side here. That's my take right now. Anyways, I'll take a few more sippy sips of this. I see there's some shitcoin, requests as well. Guys, if you're asked about shitcoins, look, you can ask about shitcoins all you want, but save your fucking money. They're going down, okay? They're all look, I would hope that anyone who's been watching this channel for more than at least a few weeks has probably gotten the message that, hey, if in doubt, be betting that your shitcoin is likely going to go down, because that's generally what they do. And especially if Bitcoin's going down, then the probability for altcoin going up while Bitcoin is going down, or traditional markets going down, is significantly reduced, even if it had a reasonable probability before. Pretty bad, man. Saint was right, though. You have to have respect. Sir, I respect the Saint, man. Saint is never wrong, okay? Everyone knows Saint is never wrong. He is only sometimes early. What I love is when Saint will say what he's gonna say, and then you get Caretaker and a few other guys who will post a conglomeration of all of his past posts, because someone new will jump in and they'll be like, "Holy shit, this guy sounds really serious, and he's really bearish. I don't know, is it really that bad?" And then someone else share this post from the past few months, and it's like, well, he has called 100 million of the last 0 downside moves. But hey, he's never wrong. He is only early. That is the way that I look at Saint. I love Saint. I want more of Saint. We need more Saints. And we need a troll box. We need a troll box as well. God, does anyone even remember the troll box from way back in the day, Poloniex or BitMEX? These troll boxes were legendary places where the most lobotomized of lobotomized would hang out with each other and basically emotionally manipulate each other into longing dumb shit. Anyways, all right. Let's take a few more sips of this. Let's get into the actual analysis of the day. Okay. And where are my notes? My little noties. Yes, my notes indeed. Oh, emails everywhere. Got a million fucking emails from a bunch of different car dealerships. By the way, I want to say a massive thank you for all of the car information, all of the expert car people. I don't know what a better auto mechanics or just people who know cars, something like this. Carophiles. Anyway, car homos, basically. Anyways, I want to say a massive thank you. It was actually super, super helpful. Everyone who reached out to me and gave me a little bit more in-depth information about different car brands, what to kind of be looking for, this and that. Super, super useful. J35 in the Discord. Pesto, of course. A few other guys as well. Super, super helpful. I've been reading it even if I didn't respond. I did take that into consideration. Anyways, let's get on with it with the old Bitcoins here. Looking at the daily price action statistics. Friday is, well, I think this Friday might be a negative closing day. I'm going out on a limb here, but it might be a negative closing day. And we have massively overshot already the average loss that you would expect on a losing Friday, which is 1.77%. The maximum loss that we've ever seen on a Friday, by the way, is about 7.5%. I don't think that we're going to be seeing something like that, but just out of curiosity, what would that look like? Oh, it's actually not that far away. And what do you know? Okay, I'm glad that I did this actually. So interestingly enough, the maximum loss that we've ever seen on a Friday since this bull market began in 2023 was a loss of just over 7.5%. If we put that into perspective on current price action, that would be at the low $92,000 territory. So again, if you do see Bitcoin down around $92,000 today, I think you're extremely likely going to see a very, very large bounce. Like very, 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 very large bounce at the very least. I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be like, closing green on the day or anything like that, but very likely a big bounce if you do see price action somewhere down around there again, if. But yeah, that is there and do keep that in mind. And of course, we've already massively overshot the average loss here. I imagine you probably already got your early morning bounce from that. Actually didn't even check really here. So let's see. That was, I think, right about here. So yeah, you would have gotten about $1,000 up almost from that number. It looks like. Is this actually on the day? Yeah, it is on the day. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we do have that there as well. Anyways, so yeah, if you were looking for that scalp play, it's already been had. You go into the next one. Again, second test into a region like that, significantly lower probability, which you can see in this particular case, going to be slicing right through. That also brings up the MetaSignal setup, which, by the way, MetaSignals has just come out with their major announcement for the 15th of November, or I guess it's the 14th of November today. But they're announcing exactly what I told you before. They are not going to be offering their NFT for lifetime after I think about January, something like this. You can find out more information on their website or in the link in the description below for MetaSignals. And as far as their daily long signals go, now obviously the short signal played out the target number 3 perfection. So we've already seen that. So that one goes by the wayside. But I do want to acknowledge that the daily time frame setup here is very likely going to fail. And in these cases, I also want to acknowledge something else as well. While they do propose a stop loss based off of their algorithm, in this case, it's just below $98,000, which in my opinion that's too much risk for a move like this right now. But it is a good idea to have like a static stop loss, is what I refer to it as, just like a general number that if met, I'm out no matter what, not waiting for closing, nothing like this, because sometimes every once in a while, price action will run away. Now, to be fair, it is a long day, and your risk is that price action actually does rally back up above $98,000. I mean, it's not impossible, I suppose, but I would probably be weighted against it. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from there, we also have a big closure today. Big closure for the 3-week time frame for Bitcoin on CME, and then of course Sunday we'll close it for spot price action. So whatever CME closes at for the end of today is very likely going to heavily influence spot price action. But before we get into that, I do want to state that yes, the 5-day time frame setup over here has more or less hit that minimum intended target. The minimum intended target was about $98,500. That was one of our major biases for just generally looking for downside, at least until at minimum that is met. But I do want to acknowledge now that with this current price action, there is a real potential for the next sort of set of higher term time frame setups to fire off with targets even lower. The 8-day time frame for CME is drawing closer and closer right here. You can see that red moving average and the yellow moving average are kissing right now. They will cross underneath each other by the next period. Now, the next period, to be fair, is a ways away. So, depending upon Bitcoin's ability to really remain below about $100,000 in the next 6 days, this might be undone. But if Bitcoin is still below $100,000 in the next 6 days, then yeah, that will fire off. And that green moving average here is about $88,000. I do want to state, however, though, that the 8-day time frame setup here is not like the other time frames that we've seen, that we've been following for the past few months. This one does not have a great track history. And in fact, now that we've hit all of the targets for all the other time frames, we are actually now at a point where we are not going to be seeing these higher term time frames have great track records with these moving average crosses getting those corrected moves. For example, I'll show you this. I'll go over to spot price action. The 8-day time frame technically fired off over here last, and it didn't even close on this try over here, although it did get very, very close, to be fair. You could have interpreted this as a win, but in this case right here, it will close on this one. But if we go to the 10-day time frame, again, we've actually seen this happen a few times during this cycle, once right here and twice right here, but they did not actually hit that green moving average. So if you are following this strategy understand you have to backtest it. You have to fit it to the time frame that you're on. And now we're kind of in uncharted territory. And I would say that you no longer have those easy, or at least I no longer have those easy calls saying, hey, we have these set up for lower. They're very likely going to get hit. I just wouldn't be bullish until something like this at least happens. But yeah, just be aware of that. It is happening over here as well. If it does get down to this region at $91,000, again, I'm looking for a bounce on the first pass, but second pass, third pass, that's where things get a little bit more nasty, or potentially more nasty. Anyways, moving on from there, let's go over our 3-week closures because we have a lot of things to cover there. As far as CME goes, which is again closing later today, we do see the 3-week time frame has 4 drives of bearish divergence come off these last few highs here. It is already at your yellow 21 EMA, which is my easy target for that. It is also testing the bottom side of this trend line extension here from the price action pivots indicator, and Bitcoin is getting a bounce from that as of right now. So I do think we're going to see an intra close bounce. Again, this is closing in about 7.5 hours, but on the next open, so pertaining to the next 3 weeks, that's where you very well may see a real downside try after a quick bounce, perhaps back up to 99, or maybe even it tests $100,000 again. Maybe that is possible, but ultimately that's the time period, these next 3 weeks, where I'd be entertaining the possibility of a potential breakdown if things are actually going to break down. That's where I'd really be expecting it to happen, to test some real downside. And at that point, the next downside targets, like I said, basically become 88 to 92,000 bucks. Probably going to be the lower end of that, to be fair, at least on a wick, and then we'll go from there. But moving on from there, looking at the 3-week time frame from a stochastic momentum perspective, we can see stochastic momentum is also coming below the critical line for the first time in a long time since February of this of this current year. It's not going to be turning up anytime soon. The current pivot is $121,000, so not great actually. Actually, really not great, in fact. But yeah, as of right now, the 3-week, the 2-week, the weekly, and the monthly are all positioned to the downside. In fact, let's just quickly show it. Here's your weekly. 115 is the pivot. 2-week time frame is actually going to be breaking below all of the prior lows that we've seen throughout this cycle as well. That one's pivoted at 121. We already went over the 3-week, but it is 121 as well, closing tonight. And then the monthly time frame also coming down below that critical zone for the first time in a long time, and going to be showing downside momentum as long as you're below 122. So I'll say the same thing as I said before. As long as we see all higher term timeframes, agreeing with each other in unison, in concert to the downside, I don't necessarily have to be full on bearish, but I certainly will not be bullish during these times. I'm not looking for, a new all-time high or shit like this until, at least some of those start to flip around. But as of right now, they all agree with each other. And I just think, it's better to be respectful of real downside here, of real downside. The same thing that we've been saying now, basically for the past 3-4 weeks almost, I feel like. Anyways, moving on from there, what else do we have? Yes, where was I? Yeah, okay, we got that. Also, just be aware that one of our major CME gaps, we kind of went over this earlier, is about $91,500. So again, just an area of interest to the downside upon continuation, if there is continuation. Other than that, I think I've hit pretty much everything I wanted to go over, except for, we've already kind of done this as well, but the monthly MACD. Just want to acknowledge again, monthly MACD, anytime it's crossed to the downside, the high for the cycle was already in. And if you do believe in the 4-year cycle, then, early October would have been your high. So if you believe in the 4-year cycle, and also if you believe in a lot of the major higher term time frame technical signals, we actually do have a lot of tangible signals that, the cycle is over. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to play out a hypothetical here. Again, I'm not grabbing onto this narrative or anything like that. I am bearish. I'm just I just don't feel the need to say it's going down to fucking zero at this point. I'll leave that to Saint. But like I said, Saint is always right. He's just maybe early. One moment. So let's play it a hypothetical here. If the macro cycle high is indeed in, where would I be expecting a macro cycle low? Probably probably about a year out from now, if that was indeed the high. Well, I think in this case, the logical takeaway would be, because this cycle was so steady and actually very beautiful in many ways, very constructive, with this up and to the right, and sideways periods of consolidation, all throughout the cycle in a very constructive manner. I do not think you're going to get one of these significantly nasty pullbacks. For example, every cycle that we've seen has seen a less nasty, but still very nasty pullback compared to the next cycle. So for example, this one here from 20, or actually let's go from this one here in 2011 to the low was almost 94% from high to low, losing 94%. That's fucking big. This one over here, still big, but 86.5% to the downside from the 2013 high to the 2015 low. Same thing in 2017 as well. We go from that to about 84.25% drawdown. I mean crash basically. And again, it is lower. It is a reduction, and that does matter, but it is still a big, big discrepancy there. And then of course the most recent one we saw a 77.5% move to the downside from the high to low. So this current one right here, all things considered, diminishing returns and everything like that, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the past cycles drawdowns. I think like worst case scenario, you might get like 65 to 70% drawdown from the high. But personally, and more realistically, I actually think that it would be significantly muted compared to the prior cycles, just because of the underlying dynamics of what have been going on in this current market cycle that are different than the past ones. And I do think maybe you're looking at like a 50 to 60% drawdown, which is still big. 50% to the downside puts you at $62,000. 60% to the downside puts you at $50,000. Somewhere in there would make a lot of sense to me if Bitcoin were to come down. Again, assuming that this was actually the macro cycle top, which who knows, could be that Bitcoin bounces heroically before the end of this year. Possible. I think a little bit less likely though, granted all these things that are happening as of right now. But it's a long month left to go. Anyways, I'll get on to the comments and the super chats in just a moment here. Let me take a sip of this water. There we go. Pisa is first. He has unseated Mr. Steven Schickman as number one. He's looking at XRP 4-hour and daily and weekly. Last we looked at XRP, we were having a short-term downside buys. Let's see if it did come down. It did come down, but it's not catastrophically failing like Bitcoin is right now, or at least comparatively. It's actually a little bit on the stronger side, which is certainly interesting, man. Anyways, 4-hour time frame, probably a little bit of a local low right here. Should rally back up to maybe like 235, 240-ish region. Wouldn't necessarily call it like a flip back into an uptrend. Daily time frame remains in a downtrend as long as you're below 258. And to be honest, I would be favoring downside here. Oh, I forgot to go over the 3-week HPDR. Yeah, the 3-week HPDR as well. Showing an area of interest at about $88,000. We'll save that on the side there though. Let's go over here. I want to see XRP from this particular angle. What are our higher term time frames looking like? Ooh, excuse me. Anyways, all things considered, I would have expected XRP to be doing significantly worse than what it's doing right now, with Bitcoin well below $100,000. So, I don't know. I'm still going to be against it though, just because it is a downtrend on all time frames that matter, and just because it hasn't fallen as much as Bitcoin, it's probably going to play catch up later on. I'd still probably be looking for it to come back down to that November low at around low $2, like let's call it 210 or so. Start to close below that November low, and well, I think at that point it's logical that you just fill the wick from October. I don't know, maybe not all the way down there, but somewhere down to like 180-ish, something like that, man. But yeah, comparatively right now, it actually is a little bit stronger than Bitcoin, and short term should try a bit more on this bounce, I'd imagine as well, like 235 to 240-ish region. Not really asking for too much there though. Anyways, looking at doggy coin from Mr. Steven, did we make 15 cents, 14 cents? No. Getting closer, inching its way further and further south, kind of the same thing as XRP, but certainly a lot more weak in comparison, just because it's kind of clinging a little bit closer to those lows and overall, and many downtrends here. I still have the same thing to say as before. I still think you're generally going to get your way back down to the bottom end of this official range here, closer to 14 cents. You're very close there already. I also don't think you're going to break below this, actually. I think you're going to bounce off it again, to be honest. In the short term, you could have a short-term reversal if you did reclaim Monday's high, which is 18.5 cents. Back above there, things, I wouldn't necessarily say like it's great, but should be in for a short-term rally to like 21-ish cents. Until then, do I think you do something like this and then bounce? Probably. Do you bounce from here? Maybe. Either which way, I don't think you're going significantly lower like this. I do think at worst you come down here and then bounce. But again, debt investments here. Debt investments, opportunity cost is a silent killer. It's a silent killer like inflation, unfortunately. Anyways, Phil Cordier, Hopefully I'm saying that properly, man. GM Mr. Krown, what's up, man? Cardano weekly, monthly? Sure, man. Cardano, I always love looking at, not because I love Cardano, but because there was this guy on Twitter who used to just, like, anytime I talked, bad about Cardano, basically just being bearish on it because, you know, like, look at the fucking chart, right? He would write like these very long threads about how I don't know, just crazy shit, like full on conspiracy mode. And I don't know, am I vindicated now? It's probably going to bounce, honestly, here again. It's probably going to try for another bounce, but yeah, this thing wants to break down more long term. Same thing as Doggy Coin. If it could reclaim that Monday high, do you think you're in for actually a pretty decent rally to 70 cents or so? You know, maybe even 75 cents if things get really crazy. But at some point, this thing will break down. I mean, you have a lower high on the weekly and a lower low already. It wants to break down. Just let it break down. It's a piece of shit. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, dead investments, man. Dead investments. We got dead presidents and dead investments. Ultimately, whether it bounces here or not, I mean, I do think it probably has one more bounce here, yes, but at some point, you know, this one will very likely undo all of the November 2024 gain. I mean, it's basically just been bleeding ever since November 2024 anyways. You know, it's just one up and then down with bounces in between, but all lower highs, all just bleeding out. I think you see that trend continue for the foreseeable future, man. But yeah, as far as the short term goes, maybe get one more bounce off this region right here. It's always difficult, you know, being super bearish, looking for a break on a weekly 377 EMA like this, or even the 200 simple, because their high period moving averages, just they're more likely to bounce until they don't. And I know that's not super helpful, but at some point I think it'll break. Is this the point right here? This actually does have a real potential to break here. You know, you got weekly momentum coming hard down. You got monthly momentum coming hard down as well. Yeah, this one actually does have potential to break and do a real downside move, but we shall see. We shall see. Moving on, we got Biff the Bear. What's up, man? Rose on the daily. They're updating the white paper. Oh, amazing. All right, great. I can't wait for their new sales pitch. Anyways, Rose Coin. Do they also have privacy features? Is that this one, or do they have metaverses or something like this? Or can you give me a buy zone, sir? Down only, sir. Down only. If you couldn't figure, yeah. It appears that the trend will be continuing here. I know it's crazy, but yeah, down only. I think the high that you saw for this month in November is probably going to be your high for many, 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 many moons. Yeah, bad, very bad, very, very bad. Bad, 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 bad. Do you hate money? Then invest in Rose Coin. Amazing, amazing idea. We're going to need to update that white paper a lot more, ma'am. AI tools. Says mentor when my main asset goes bearish, is it smarter to master one strategy across uptrending assets or build a new short strategy for that asset? Okay, when my main asset goes bearish, so I'm guessing you are trading one main asset, so let's just assume it's Bitcoin or something like this, whatever, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Is it smarter to master one strategy across uptrending assets? Yeah. I would say that, because if you do have a working strategy, which sounds like you do, then it would be easier for you to kind of reappropriate that strategy, you know, making it more specific to something else that is uptrending. So it's probably gonna be in a different market, to be fair. But yeah, it would be easier to do that than build a whole new short strategy for that same asset. So yeah, or what you could also do, and honestly, this is how I see things, is if I have a really good strategy for something, in your case, you know, your main asset, I'm guessing, is a long strategy. I will just wait until the uptrending asset continues to uptrend, or reverses into an uptrend again. That's what I wait for personally, instead of like trying to, you know, reinvent the wheel. But hey, you know, I understand that if you want money now and you gotta be trading right now, then fair enough. You know, then I would say the next easiest thing to do would be to take that working strategy and try to apply it to a different asset that is in an uptrend. But you're naturally going to have to change around some of the settings. But I imagine the basis of that strategy should be relatively similar. Anyways, Saucier says, hey, I donated Hype the other day, but right after the stream went down. My apologies on that one, man. We can go over it really quickly. Why not? I'm guessing it's great, man. I'm guessing it's going to the moon for sure. Anyways, Hype coin, yeah, going to the moon by first going through the center of the earth, I guess. Yeah, so this one's reversed into a downtrend. You see high, you see low, you see lower high, you see lower low, you see lower high again. Coming back down to that same low, I think that this thing's ready to probably have a real breakdown. Weekly wants to break down. I think that this thing is coming down to $31, to be honest with you. Yeah, this like is. Could that be a macro high? Nah, it's just normal selling, bro. You got to study, bro. It's a stupid fucking meme. Probably no one even understands where that's from because I barely even understand where it's from, but it is hilariously silly. Anyways, sorry, man. All jokes aside, yeah, man. I don't see nothing bullish about this. The only way I'd flip around to being even slightly bull curious is if you popped back above the November the 6th high from Thursday. This price action pivot here at $35.50. At that point, yeah, I'd reconsider that. You know, this could be reaccumulation, but I highly doubt that that's what's going on here. But that would be my line in the sand for invalidating my prior thoughts. Anyways, we have Mr. Amal the Jus says DOT on the weekly. Oh, it's going to be really good, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure, man. DOT is going to be doing great because it's from 2021, and we all know that 2021 shitcoins are just completely in their own bull market. Oh my God, we have bullish divergence all over this place. We have so much bullish divergence. It continues to go down and make even more divergences. Guys, it doesn't matter how many fucking bullish divergences you may or may not have on a shitcoin. They go down. They go fucking down. Look, man, I don't know if this is a if this is a joke super chat or if it's not, but in the odd event that you are serious, this is among the worst charts that we will see today. But it's not unique. You know, most shitty charts look some variation of this. It's just they're all shitty charts, you know? It's just your natural shitcoin death loop. That's what they all do. 99.9% of them will do exactly this. But of course, we all think it's his shitcoin, not my shitcoin. My shitcoin's going to be the good one, right? It's the 0.00001% of shitcoins that has some small chance of even doing moderately upside behaviors. But in this case right here, yeah, man, I would be very comfortable in saying you're probably never even going to see back above December highs from last year. This is down only, man. This is down only by the fucking definition of it. Absolute monstrosity. AIDS in my face. I despise this chart, man. I despise this chart. Anyways, Hex Outlaw says, been a while since I've sent a chat. All good, man. As you can tell by my handle, I'm Shrek'd. Wait a second. You're holding Hex? No. Thank you for your insight and knowledge, big bro. It's all good, man. It's all good. Hopefully you're not actually Shrek'd. Hopefully, you know, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. I'm curious just to know, what does Hex look like? I wonder if all of those Hex people will apologize. Probably not, but yeah. Bro, you have to put it on the log chart. It's good. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's amazing. Yeah, this chart is really no different than DOT coin. They all go down. They all go down. And why is that? The technology is not there. No, it's just literally no one gives a fuck about it, man. Yeah. Yeah, DOT doesn't have a highly... No, we're not going there. We're not going that. You know what, man? All the best, my man. All the best. As far as charts go, yeah, this one's going to continue to go down, but Pulse Chain will save us. Pulse Chain will save us. Oh my God, Pulse Chain is saving me right now. Anyways, Arms Private says, are we likely to bounce from the 95,000 level? I mean, Bitcoin is bouncing right now. I think it went a little bit lower than 95. Let's see. How low did it go? 94.6. Do you want to call that a bounce from 95? Do you want to not? I mean, I think you have the answer in front of your face right here. I don't know if this is what you'd constitute as a bounce, but personally, I do think that whatever bounce that we're seeing from here is not like the bounce that is going to lead to a lower high. I think that this is a continuation move, and this is just an intraday bounce. But yeah, I think the real bounce comes from a little bit lower, honestly, somewhere between 88 to 92. Somewhere in that pocket there, and that's where I could see like a real bounce. But if you're just looking for like a scalpable play off of 95, then I think you've seen it. You know, $1,000 or $1,500 to the upside that's good. That's pretty good. I mean, shit, this thing could easily bounce a little bit more towards 98. The crazy thing is, though, is that if it bounces above 98 before end of day, which is certainly not impossible, like by any stretch of the imagination, this trade over here from Meta Signals will still be alive. I don't know how I feel about that. That would be pretty fucking crazy, all things considered. But yeah, to be fair, that is true. Anyways, Be Good 419 says Syrup BTC daily syrup thoughts. Well, I don't know. Last we looked at it, wasn't looking too hot. Let's see if it's still not looking too hot. Actually doing a lot better than what I would have expected it to. But still, I have the same thing to say about it. This is the line of destiny right here, 49 cents. As long as you're below 49 cents, I don't want to flip around and say, hey, this thing is actually bullish, for what would actually be an uptrend, with targets up to these prior highs here at 57 or 60 cents. It's not impossible. It's just I want to hold on to my guns in this case. 49 cents is my line in the sand. Need to see a daily closure above there. Until then, I still think that this might be a selling point right here, to be honest with you. But as far as indicators go, it's not bad. It does have a real chance to actually break through to the upside here. So I'd be respectful of it. But personally, given the context of this market, given the context of where we are at things in general, I'm more inclined to say it's probably going to break down from here. But again, that's just a personal opinion. Wouldn't be trading off of that or nothing like that. So hopefully that was helpful, man. Crypto Clivy says, hey, Krown, been following since 2017. Oh my fucking God. I love it, man. I love the OGs. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll always give you my full transparent thoughts. I might not be wrong though. I can be very fucking wrong. I can be extremely wrong, unfortunately, but I will give you a real opinion, not swayed by a marketing budget from some, highly scrupulous fucking shitcoin project. Anyways, can you look at Dash short and midterm? My man. Uh-oh. It's not looking good. I can already feel this one. Yeah. So I'm guessing this thing kind of played with the Z-derp, the Zcash rally as well. I think that whatever high you saw from last week is going to be your high for eternity or many years at least. This thing has a history of going down only. I have no reason to believe that it's not going to continue to go down only. That high from last week certainly looks to me like a proverbial all-time high for a very, 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 very long time, if not for forever. But you can get some pretty decent bounces in between, with these highly volatile assets. If it wanted to bounce here, I guess 81, 82 bucks is not out of the question. It has basically been just straight down since that high to this current low of almost 60%. If it bounced up like 20, 30% from there, I know it sounds crazy, but these things can actually do that. That wouldn't be too out of the ordinary. But again, is this bounce going to reverse into like a real uptrend? No, I highly, highly, highly doubt that. I'd be extremely surprised if you even see above 3 digits ever again. This thing is a lot more likely to come down to $20 than it is to go back above, let's say 110. Yeah, man, love the HPDR bands. Yeah, man, the HPDR bands, in my opinion, are just like if you either have some experience or you have the patience to sit down and study this indicator, it is among the most powerful tools that we do offer. But again, it requires more investment up front with like actually learning it. I think a lot of the other things like the price action pivots or the age pass, for example, are a little bit more intuitive for people. But yeah, if you're more experienced, I think that this is among my best tools, among my most favorite tools for sure. So yeah. Anyways, Chris Fell is back. He's looking at MicroStrategy. Let's check it out. I'm imagining it's probably down significantly now. We've been bearish on this thing for a long time. I am now even more emboldened in my bearishness because it is below $200, and more importantly, it's below officially that last lower low from February of this year. I think you're going to see 160, 170 region tested. Very, very likely there should be a bounce there, but this is bad. You have a lower low now. You don't necessarily have a lower high on the monthly, to be fair, but this is either which way I cut this. I don't want to be presenting hopium on something that I don't think that there's hopium on. This is down, and when it does bounce, I would be expecting a lower high to further confirm the downtrend. But yeah, ultimately, man, this is. I think undoubtedly you're already in the 100. So I was gonna say you're gonna see a one handle on this, but you already do. I think you're gonna see like somewhere around 170. Let's call it, give or take a little bit from that number. Anyways, let's see what sort of text messages do I have now. Always messages everywhere I go. Let's see. All right, there we go. Okay, turn that shit off and keep on scrolling the comments. The conservative cat says ACHR stock. Okay, nice. We're finally into some stonks action over here. It might possibly be doing something differently, and no, it's actually not. It looks like all marks coming down in concert here. I mean, you're on the monthly 21 EMA. Do you try for a bounce here? Probably. Maybe this is the bounce. Still, though, I think you're more likely to try for a bounce here, but it is no longer in uptrending motion. Taking out that last local low does now set the bias, to me at least, that it is flipping into a downtrend. So while I do think you're going to see a bounce relatively soon, be wary of a bounce, topping out anywhere below $10. Because if you see a rejection there, that is your lower high, and then it is going to be down for a while. As far as the weekly goes, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that's super obvious here. Do we have some hopium here? Any hopium? Anyone got some hopium? Anyone got some more of that hopium for me? Yeah, give it a chance to bounce. But if you do see a rejection at $10, that's where I start to say, hey, this thing is actually putting in a downtrend, and probably comes back down to that April low from this year. But for now, give it a chance to bounce. It should bounce kind of where it's at right now, and then I guess we come back to it later. Should take its time. All right, let's move on. We got Meeker's Media next. Says, check ZEC, all time frames. Okay. I also want your back fur, please, and I've been begging for it since you started on here. I love and worship your TA, and I love Elsa too. All right. So can we get a restraining order, please? Kidding, man. You can have all my back hair that you want, man. You just have to come and get it. And I swear, look, my hairs, I have some sort of disease, okay? I don't know too many people like me, but I've met maybe one person like me who's so fucking hairy that I shed hairs wherever I go. And it is disgusting, actually. It is truly disgusting that Elsa loves me for some reason. I look gross. I'm hairy. I'm hairy fucking everywhere. Even my shaft is hairy. And I can tell you that the hairs are so enormous in their numbers that they fly off of me. And when I go to the bathroom, there's hair that accumulates in the bathroom in a pile. And then because the hairs are I guess they're just sticky fucking gross hairs, they all bunch up into a fucking cat hairball. And it's nasty, man. It's bad. What is she thinking? She married me. This is insane. Why would you do that? Anyways, we are through all of these super chats. Now let's get on to the regular chats here. That's where the fun begins, baby. Elsa sneaks in at night and shaves him. She's not doing a good job then. I can tell you right now she's not doing a good job. Sorry, we did not go to Zcash. So we got too much on the hair analysis here. Let's see. Okay, 4-hour time frame. I mean, it is having a pretty impressive bounce, not going to lie, man. We did outline a bounce like this, actually. This was back from when we looked at it, I guess, a week ago. I don't know. Sorry, not a week ago. This was earlier this week. I guess I outlined a bounce here, and then my LARP line has it coming down from here. I don't know what I was thinking when I drew that out. Let's see. Does that hold weight? Actually, it kind of does. If you're going to get a bull trap, this makes a lot of sense on this move. So anytime you see an asset make a macro all-time high, you almost always, not always, but almost always will put in a significant bull trap along that. And this might be it for this thing. How much has it rallied from that low? Yeah, 35%. 35% is pretty big. My price action pivots indicator is actually giving a good example of what I was speaking about earlier. So the first test into these price action pivot trendline extensions almost always is a scalpable move. And in this case, you're testing the top side of it. So you're seeing price pull back from that a little bit. That is scalpable in that case. Not a home run trade, but it is scalpable nonetheless. Let's see. Let's go higher term time frame. Is it reasonable to say that this thing is actually topped out for life now? Okay, maybe not for life. No, I wouldn't say that, because you did take out this lower high here. So it does deserve some respect long term now. I don't know. I'm looking for something that's obvious here. I'm not seeing it just yet. Let's go to a different chart. Let's see what this one is looking like. My wife whispered in my ear, I shaved everything. You know what that means? Yeah, that means I have to unclog the drain. Actually, I do unclog the drain very, very frequently. I know that you're joking, sir, but this is a real life issue for myself, and I'm not joking at all. Elsa's laughing in the background like a maniacal fucking lobotomite. It's concerning, like very concerning. Okay, it's disgusting. Like you think it's funny because you're just like truly disturbed person. Okay, only someone who really lacks any sort of real self-respect would laugh like such things. Very immature, honestly. Like we're live speaking to many people out there in the cryptocurrency world, and you're laughing like a absolute crazy person. I mean, this is embarrassing for you and it very immature, very immature. Anyways, are you done yet? Look, I'm really sorry that I try to do a professional stream here, and Elsa just like she starts laughing at things that are actually not funny and very serious. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, yeah. So back onto the ZDERP. Funnily enough, momentum will turn back onto the upside here above 555. I do think that this one's pretty tired regardless, though. You know, you saw extremes here. Yeah, it's coming off of extremes on every time frame. I mean, I think I'd feel quite confident saying that this is going to be a long-term high. Is this going to be a bull trap here is the real question. And that I mean, if it's going to be a bull trap, we'd really expect it to sell back down before end of day. We'd expect it to end the day below like 530, let's say. Right now, it's rallying up. I mean, that's very impressive. You know, you have to give credit where credit is due. Everything else is red by multiple percents, and this thing's up nearly 10 fucking percent. That's impressive. Now, usually that's a warning signal when the rest of the market's going the other way. But hey, very impressive rally. But yeah, what I would say is, okay, here's where I see something that's obvious on the hourly time frame. If you come back down below the last hourly low, which is 535, I think that you have a pretty high probability of this being a real bull trap right here, and then it's kind of down only until you get to, you know, this low from earlier this week at 420, and I don't think that things will stop there ultimately. Maybe a short-term bounce, but ultimately this thing probably comes down to like the mid threes, like 350. But for right now, you know, you have to give credit where credit is due, and where would I say, hey, no, this is actually really bullish, and this thing is going to pop back up to the prior high of 650 and maybe even beyond. I need to see a daily closure above about 585. Until then, I do think that this is a very high probability of being a bull trap move right here. But again, if it's a bull trap move, you really would expect before end of day for this thing to come back down below about 535 region. So it's a long day left to go. As long as it's above there, I think that there is a real potential that it could pull through. But the second that you come back down below there, and especially close the daily below there, I think that's the signal, hey, this thing's done. That's your bull trap. Fucking watch out below, I guess. Anyways, Bills, FAM, XRP, XLM. I wonder what he's going to ask about. Actually, it was a surprise. And you stonk. Daily, weekly. Got it, man. Crushed earnings. Yeah, I mean, crushing earnings is good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to go up. Although in this case, beautiful higher low on a general uptrend on a higher term time frame. I like it. I think it's good, man. I think it's good. Yeah, probably the best chart we've seen today, actually. Yeah, and again, it's not necessarily because this is guaranteed to just go straight to the moon from here. I mean, yes, it bias because it is a general uptrend, but you have a super easy and logical invalidation point for flipping around to being bearish, basically. And that is just simply coming back down below today's low, which is also that green 55 on the daily time frame. Until then, respect the trend. And right now the trend is the upside, and this looks fine. And that's where you would be expecting a higher low if this thing is going to be bullish. So I'd be respectful of the upside, invalidated again below today's low. Aiden 6122 says NBIS stonk. Nice. We got some stonk action going on. Beautiful. NBIS. Nebius. Yeah, compared to the last one, not as strong, sir. Yeah, at least long term, it does have this nice, steady sort of constructive behavior, kind of. It's a little bit more volatile than what you would want. But look, I think two things are simultaneously true. One, I think that you found a top for a long time. Two, I think that you're going to have a short-term rally relatively soon, maybe even as high as like $94. But I don't think that that is going to actually reverse or put this into a higher low right here. I do think that this one will probably come lower towards $70, and that's maybe where you might see a real higher low attempt. The reason why I say that is because the monthly is already below the last month's low. This is a local swing high. So if it's a local swing high, probably looking decently lower. So that's why I say, 70 or maybe even a little bit below 70 is potential for the next higher low. This should be a top for a long time right here. Take a sip of this water. Okay, let's get back onto the old chats, the old chatties here. All right. Stream acting like it's about to rug again. What's going on? Is it buffering? That's not good. Read the news. Krown BitUnex delisting Zcash last time that they did that with CoIAL, it literally nosedived. Okay. BitUnex delisting Zcash. I mean, I don't think BitUnex has a ton of the market share for volume, but fair enough. Okay. Again, I'm not saying it's necessarily bullish here, but I need to see something to confirm literal bearishness, though. Like literal bull trap into a big, sizable, girthy red dildo downside move. MIG says CLSK. Sure, we can look at CLSK. CleanSpark has been a favorite recently. Yeah, so I remember we've been looking at this one a while recently, and we did say, hey, no, it was on this chart. Sorry, no, it was on this chart. This is one where I have it on. It rejected the top side of the range. I remember after that we said, hey, this thing, it might still be long-term good, but expect it to come closer to the bottom side of the range, and I believe that's still what it's doing here. Yeah. I drew out the LARP lines right here. I was anticipating maybe a short bounce and then come back down. But yeah, either which way, coming back down, we are starting to get into my LARP line circle right there. I think it probably goes a little bit lower, maybe closer to the bottom side of this range, like as low as maybe $9. But I think that you're still going to hold that range low at least for a while and bounce and play out sideways. Basically, the range high, you already have it in there. Range low, you have it right here. Probably puts in the next low somewhere around this region, tries another rally, play it from there. But as of right now, this one's still kind of following the old LARP line, so I don't think I need to update too much right there. I think it just has a little more downside, and you get some short-term bounces, but those short-term bounces are not reversals, or at least I wouldn't be entertaining the possibility of a reversal until you at least come down to this region here. So yeah. Zodl the Zcash Zokins. Fair enough. I'm not buying Zcash till 330 support. Did you even look at the daily chart? Sir, are you okay in the head? Like, for real? Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just curious. Like, where are you getting this from? Like, I'm not even saying your analysis is wrong. I'm just saying, you okay? Is it okay? Anyways, let's see. What else do we have? Bagsy McGainsey says, what's your thoughts on Ethereum Bitcoin here? Showing a tiny bit of strength. Let's see what a tiny bit of strength looks like. On the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. I mean, if you're just talking about a short-term bounce here, yeah, it is gaining a little bit of ground versus Bitcoin. But do I think that... Okay, I think... Okay, there is one thing I feel very strongly about, but there is another thing that I'm not so sure about. The one thing I feel very strongly about is that at some point you will be coming back down to this 2 million Satoshi marker here. That might be like half a year out. I don't fucking know. What I don't know about is in the short term, do we get one more bounce off of these major moving averages into that last lower high at 4.2 million Satoshis and then roll over, or does it just roll over from here? I don't know. Because when I see these sort of setups, a lot of the time they do get one more try towards that prior high. In this case, that's your 4.2 or 4.3 million Satoshi high. Let's see what momentum I'll sort of say, because this can kind of help a little bit with this. Let's see. Okay, so the weekly, obviously very heavy to the downside. Bi-weekly, also heavy to the downside. Monthly is still up here. Yeah, it might get one more try towards 4 million Satoshis, but either which way, whether it does or doesn't, I think that ultimately you will find your way down to 2 million or 2.25 million Satoshis. Yeah. It does still bother me that the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing never officially tested for 4.5 million Satoshis. I mean, it got really, really close, but it kind of does bother me that you didn't see a little bit closer there, that would have made more sense in my opinion. But yeah. Anyways, Aaron Shah Nazarari says, tell us about scary tether dominance chart. I was actually looking at it this morning. Let's see, it's right here, 571. Okay, yes, it is scary here, but I would say if you want like the last line of hopium. Oh no, the last line of hopium is getting destroyed right now. Well, I guess there goes that. I was going to say, you're still playing out this trend line here. I mean, maybe if this thing were to come back down below this current 5-day low, I could say, yeah, this thing is putting in the next lower high here, and that should be really good for Bitcoin, especially. But at some point, it's like you're making too many excuses for it, or you're just like, okay, but maybe this line, but maybe that line, and I don't know, man. I feel like we probably play this game a little bit too much with this, with like, okay, there might be a little bit of hopium there, but I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm starting to lean towards this thing wants to really go up, man. Like, look at the monthly. The higher term timeframes are where it's at on this one. The monthly is going to be vertical above 4.6%. It's trading at 5.7% right now. Again, it is right at that price action pivot trendline extension. So that is what kind of bothers me, because if you are going to see like a last point of hopium, it would be right here. But look, like if this really does have the potential to push through, and it will be unforgiving when it does. It'll be unforgiving when it does. That's the problem. So it's like you can hold on to some hopium, but just realize if this pushes through, you're not even going to have time to react to the downside move that will inevitably occur on your favorite kryptons if that were to happen. So that's kind of the problem with hopium. I guess the other point of hopium is weekly just tested the 200 simple. Okay, yeah, should come down, right? I mean, I think you can still hold on to that because technically it is still valid. It is still valid as of right now, but I could certainly see we have a situation in the background where it's very possible that it will absolutely just blow right fucking through there. So yeah, I know that's not super helpful, or at least you're kind of at the point of like maximum failure. So, if you're creating like a trade strategy around this, it makes it very difficult, right? Because if you're wrong, you technically will know very soon, but I have a feeling that if you're wrong and this does blast through, it's going to be so fucking quick, man. It's going to be so fucking quick. You're not going to have time to react. So just be aware, always know your risk. And that's kind of what makes this particular situation more delicate, at least in my opinion. Yeah. All right. MIG says iron stock. Sure, man. This one's also been quite popular as of recent. Did I just wreck my mic? No, it's all good. All right. Iron. Yeah, this is looking a lot more like a high now. So before, okay, it did make a new high in November, right? So we read about that, but yeah, quickly flipped around after that. So sometimes that's all you get, I guess. Anyways, this one is a parabolic blow off top. I think you're at least going to hit this 21 EMA on this current downside move, which is 39.30. Probably a bounce attempt there, but again, same with all the other ones. Whenever you have these parabolic moves and that first move down finds a low, you have to be really wary about the bounce putting in that sort of lower high into a bull trap, which for this one would be somewhere around like 55, 56, maybe even 50, maybe even $57. If you see something like that, that would be very, very bad. But I think that you come down a little bit more here, then bounce, should be a big bounce. If you get a lower high somewhere around here, it's going to be a long way down to 30-ish maybe. I don't know, something like this. Anyways, continue to read through some of these. Bagsy McGain says, thanks, Krown. All good, man. Been watching for years now. Hell yeah, man. Proper gay for TA now. Fuck yeah, we're all gay. We're all a bit of homos here. Krown, any gaming lately? No. I get my setup next week. So I have my beastly computer and my soundboard, which I'm very excited about, and then maybe we do some gaming. But what are the good games out recently? I heard someone call out Apex whatever. It actually looks pretty cool. I think I saw Ninja playing it the other day. Looks pretty fun. Will Tesla head to 380 soon? Says Biff. Last I looked at it, it does look like it wants to break down a little bit more here, but let's bring it up again. Where did she go? I could swear it is absolutely on this list here. Hold on. There she is. All right. 396. I mean, you just saw 382, man. No, you you saw that move. That move has happened, my man. 382 might as well be 380, and you're coming off of a major move after as well. I think you're in bounce territory now, back up to like 400, to maybe even 410. Assuming you finish the day below 410 and close the weekly below here, I do think there is potential for another move to the downside, but wait until the end of the day. If the day, again, finishes below 410, I think that there could be some actual downside here. So yeah, be aware of that. Zaxi says, has the best way to become a better trader been teaching others? I think that's the best way to become better at anything, is to try to teach people at least what you know. So for me, like when I was learning, obviously trading, I did that with one of my college friends who was trying to learn options at the time. And like I'd kind of teach him at least what I know. And that kind of helped me get a better understanding. And also when I started to do my YouTube channel, explaining these concepts to people who in general, don't have much experience with this, that also helped me as well. Yeah, I think that's true for just about any skill. If you even if you're at a low level and you try to teach other people, it will help you. Now, you at least need some base of knowledge though. Like you can't just be completely fucking noob and try to teach someone else. Like you actually need to know something, obviously. But yeah. Anyways. Real G says, hey, Krown, what's the viewer count looking like compared to last cycle before the crypto market entered bear market? My numbers throughout this whole cycle have been infinitely less than the prior cycle, infinitely less. And what's funny about this cycle is that my numbers have actually gone down as Bitcoin goes up. So in 2024, when Bitcoin rallied up to $70,000, my viewership numbers were much higher, like 50% to even as much as 100% higher than what they're at right now. Which I think is interesting. You would have expected it to be the opposite, but yeah, I guess just in that case, I can't really trust my YouTube metrics anymore because, I'm not really seeing the relationship that I would have expected to see, Anyways, Sushi Yum Yums, what's up, man? AIOZ, sure. AIOZ. There we go. Whoops, let's do this. All right, there we go. I know it's a crypto shitcoin. Wow, amazing. Just a down only chart. Are you telling me that a crypto shitcoin is going down only? Incredible. Yeah, man. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's probably going to come all the way down to your 2023 lows at some point. Is there going to be bounces in between there? Sure, for sure. But is it coming down overall? Hell yeah. I'd even say it would be a gift from God to even see this thing back above 25 or 26 cents ever again. And if it does, that's a tremendous selling area, to be honest. But that's just my opinion, I suppose. Yeah, overall, man, this thing wants to come down. It's coming down, and it wants to come more down. There will be bounces every once in a while, but do not be expecting reversals on something that has only ever gone down. It's a crazy idea, I know. Anyways, we have Aaron. He's back. He says, just to make me fully ship my pants. Okay. What about total 3 and Bitcoin dominance? Let's look at total 3 first, just because I think it holds a lot more weight. Let's see. I could make a much better case for total 3 than I can for tether dominance. Not being bearish, to be honest, because right now you're at the weekly 55. That is where you would expect a higher low if this thing is going to continue up. So if I'm looking at the monthly, then yeah, I think that there's maybe another short-term try to the downside, but it's actually not as bad as tether dominance, to be honest. The only way to confirm a real reversal in this chart, as of right now, I think you'd have to close below last week's low at the minimum, and preferably it would honestly be below the October lows, but that's just so fucking far away. I don't feel like that's helpful. For right now, you still have higher lows. Like, got to call a spade a spade. This is not the worst in the world. I mean, objectively, it's not. Like, you have same highs, you have higher lows as of right now. I would respect that, to be honest with you. Now, to be fair, this is basically all of the shitcoins. So does that make sense? No. Are most shitcoins going up? Hell no. So is it even that helpful? In my opinion, no. It's just, you can't even trust it to begin with. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, I don't think that this metric really matters that much, but if I had to call it here, I think it's actually coming down. If anything, like this wants to come down. I think it wants to come back down to 57%. Again, does that mean your shitcoins are going up? Most of them are continuing down, man. Like I feel bad talking about that because, again, this chart, for what everyone wants it to represent, has not been working that way this whole cycle. It's not been working that way. It was straight up over here, but that's when your AIs were going straight up. That's when your memes were going up many X's. And then when it went straight down right here, you saw everything else go up for like a week or two, but that was it. That was it. So for me, I don't think that this chart really matters that much. And I think that the people who focus on it too much are, well, they're doing that for a reason, sir. Anyways, Carnivore says, bloody disgusting ignoring me. That's right, man. We're just ignoring you. There's, there is almost 1,000 people here, but we're literally just ignoring you, sir. Neo Cyber Savvy says, YouTube numbers down while price is up is a divergence. Yeah, technically speaking, yeah. It'd be kind of hard to play though, just because of the way that it's happened. But technically, yeah, you are correct. Codes Mode says DG, Dollar General. Sure, ma'am. DG. Yeah, in case you didn't know, we prioritize the super chats here first for obvious reasons. When you have limited time and some people are willing to pay to have their comment read, then I am going to do the logical thing and entertain their comments first. Once I finish with those, then I go to the regular comments. But for the people who complain, I just ignore them typically. Anyways, actually very well might be a higher low right here. When I go to the monthly, it is no, it is not. But when I go to the daily, I mean, there is some short-term hopium. It depends what time frame you're on, Mr. Codes Modes. I think ultimately, if you're on the higher term timeframes, I don't think that there's like a macro low in. I think that you will come back down somewhere closer to the $75 low here. Yeah, but do I think that you're going to be going much lower than this low? Probably not. You know, maybe something like this. Again, this could take like 3-4 years to reaccumulate on the lows, assuming that it even goes up again to begin with. It's a big, big ask. Is the 5-year cycle still a thing? Well, first off, it's a 4-year cycle. Want Pazino and Mark Moss talking about extended cycle. I'm not sure I understand the version of English you are speaking to me, sir. So if you could like reformulate your question, then maybe I could comment, but I don't really. I mean, Pazino's my friend, but I just don't follow other people, man. I want my thoughts to be very, unimpeded by anyone else. Even if I like the other people, even if I think that they generally have good ideas, like Jason and his brother Michael. Both Jason and Michael, I think, are very, very, very good and probably great to listen to as well. I just don't listen to them because I want my thoughts to be, well, unique, and I don't want it to be influenced by anyone else. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, though, to be honest. Let's see. White Tail says, I agree. All crypto channels sound like Chinese when you first get into crypto. Yeah, of course. It is a new language, really. I've watched several traders and tried their strategies throughout the last couple of years. I'm glad Elliot recommended. Yeah, man, Elliot's a good friend. This market's getting harder, though, and so I think a lot of the people who are bull market heroes are kind of getting, well, they're getting it. I guess. I don't know. Again, I don't really follow other people, so I don't actually know, but that's what I would assume. Hey, my stream just shitted out right there. Let me know if the stream is still live, because on one of my, yeah, okay, it is still good. It's just my own screen here just reloaded for whatever reason. Can you look at silver? Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to look at silver and gold. We've been looking for a bounce on these, but I don't think that this bounce is going to be a bring it back to new all-time highs bounce. And on silver, we have seen a bounce. Silver actually could. This is a lot more constructive than gold, in my opinion. Let's see. Do we have something obvious here? Maybe. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. Sorry, coughing up some more coffee from this morning. Let's go to a monthly. Silver might push through, honestly. This one could be fine. I think gold's the one where I'd be entertaining the likelihood of an actual bull trap. Yeah, for silver, does it come back down to like $49 or even $47? Probably yes, but overall this is good. Before I was looking for it to come down to like low 40s. Am I going to be right about that or wrong about that? I still have to kind of be biased towards that. Yeah, especially with what's gold doing. I take that back. I do think that this one will play at a downside move to the low $40 region, but that should be a good area. Whoops, let's go here. XAU USD. Let's look at some gold action. Some old gold. Yeah, gold, I still feel quite confident that it's topped out. We got the exact bounce I was looking for. Okay, I know I have a chart for it though. Where is it? I think it was right here. We had the LARP lines. Yeah, the LARP lines right there. Marking this area off. It got to the top end of that area. Again, they don't need to be exact, but it is interesting to see. Anyways, yeah, I think it's going to be some sideways and down from here. I think that is actual bull trap, to be honest with you. So yeah. Have you checked Tether Dominus? Yes, we just looked at that earlier, man. Let's see. Okay. Any yelling at falling altcoin charts this stream? It's hard to pick on any one particular shitcoin, to be honest, because they're all doing the same shit. But yeah, Benny is continuing to talk about Zcash when all of the rest of us have moved on about 20 minutes ago, but that's cool. Sure, it's coming down to 330. Again, I just want to see confirmation of a bull trap first, but continue to let me know your thoughts every 5 seconds, sir. I like Vince Lancy for Gold Mark Gossip. Cool. All right. Still live. Thank you for that, Caretaker. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that, guys. Mr. Mandy says, I'm watching from the start. Can you do one chart for me or two? Well, look at our... Great. This must be a fucking banter guy. Look at Arweave, bro. Yeah, I'm sure it's fucking great, man. I've only been saying that this thing is down only for the past, like, year and a half. I only remember this one just because I was on Crypto Banter one time, like doing one of their live streams, and someone asked me about Arweave around here at about $30, and I said, oh, this is, like, undoubtedly about to go down a shit ton. Here's a real chart, by the way. It did, but there was a lot of very mean comments at that notion. At any rate, yeah, man, it's continuing to go down only. This is literally a down only chart. I don't know why you'd think it's going to reverse anytime soon or even at all. It doesn't. The best that you can ever do is just these one-off pumps, and you literally just did it last week. This is never a good sign. It's literally never a good sign. It's always a bad sign. Like, always a bad sign. It is bad. It is very, very bad. Bad. Don't do it. It's bad. Anyways, Astera Labs from Mr. Riz or M Riz. He says A Lab. Okay, so real stock. Okay, gotcha. A Lab. Let's see. Parabolic blow off top. There's your bull trap. This is exactly what I'm talking about and what to kind of look for on something like Zcash or a lot of the other parabolic moves that we've seen. This one's just a little bit further down the route. I think that this one's going to be down for a long time. I think at some point you will fill this gap here at like low $100. That might be many months away. You know, there's going to be some bounces in between, of course, but yeah, probably going to try for a bounce here, but very, very bearish as long as you're below that $200 high, which you are very far away from today, unfortunately. Look at AMD. We could look at AMD. Haven't done that for a few streams. How's this one doing? Yeah, comparatively better than most of these tech producers. Weird one right here, but I have to give respect where respect is due, and I kind of have to be bullish on this thing as long as you're above this week's low. Like, it actually looks genuinely good. If you lose this week's low, then I take everything I just said back and get ready for a move down to like 215 to 210. But all things considered, it's an uptrend. The trend is your friend. I think it's okay long term, honestly, man. I don't think it's bad. I think it's fine. All right. BMNR looking really bearish. Yeah, it looks like my dad is going to be very right about that one. My dad fucking hates Tom Lee like none other. And I remember when this pump happened over here, he was like, this is it. This is the end. This thing's going down only. He was 100% right. My dad is one of the OG traders of OGs, a great mentor as well. But yeah, I think this thing's, I think it's going to be exactly right. I think it's going to come all the way down to, you know, below $10 again. Terrible. There's your long-term history for fucking Tom Lee coin. Can you take a look at NVIDIA? Is the AI run still strong? I don't know. Let's check it out. I haven't even looked at it in a long time myself. Look, I can't hate something as long as it has an uptrend and you still have higher lows here. I'm only concerned about it if it comes back down below 178 and on a daily closing basis. Until then, the trend is your friend. There is a weird obsession with trying to short the things that have been the most bullish. I think the idea is that, oh, there's going to be like a average where they come down even more. Maybe, but usually not. Usually not. You don't want to short the strong ones. You want to short the weak ones in a bear market. Don't short the strong, short the weak. This one, as of right now, I think you want to continue up. I just wouldn't be bearish on it until you're closing below this low at 178. I'm not saying that you're not going to do that. It's just until that happens, I wouldn't be front running a bearish, reversal here. We already went over Cardano shitcoin. It's doing what most shitcoins do, man. It's a crazy idea, but it is. Shrewd Capital says maybe 94.5 was the bottom, target 108. If Bitcoin closed today above like $98,000, then hey, 108 is still on the board because that meta signal setup would still be valid. I know people would hate that because it wicked so far below the stop loss zone, but again, stop losses are managed on a closing basis, not on anything else. So be aware, be very aware. Whoops. Got off that one right there. BL Vanko says, hey man, what are your thoughts on Arrow? I feel like it's a strong play with the bait. Oh god, it's some crypto shitcoin. I thought it was like an actual stock for a second. But yeah, I'm sure it's great, man. I don't know. Sometimes these things actually are good. Yeah, great narrative. Sir, like, no. Like, you are drinking the Kool-Aid, my man. You are drinking the Kool-Aid. You are fucking deep-throating that Kool-Aid. Like, what? It's bad. It's bad. It's going to be great over the next 1 to 3 years. I would be willing to bet in the next 1 to 3 years, you're more likely to see 30 cents than you are to see $3. Maybe you see both. I mean, it's possible, but I do think you will see the downside of that equation. Absolutely. The upside, maybe. I don't know if you really are right. Possible, but probably not. Asian Massage says, Arrow has a target around 470, but I don't know when. Would not hodl. Also could see 5 cents. Probably quite accurate, to be honest. Anyways, Sushi Yum Yum says, since I've joined, everything has been bad. Did you look at anything good except Dollar General? I don't know if I'd say Dollar General is good, man. As far as shitcoins go, I don't think that we've seen anything that's good today. And as far as stocks go, I mean, you could it's a hard statement to make because Nvidia objectively looks good. It's just, does that mean I don't think it's going to pull back? No, it can pull back. It can still, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going like straight up from, this exact moment. No, but yeah, it just really depends on what sort of time frame you're talking about, man. How's Palantir doing? Hopefully it's coming down because your boy would like to buy. I don't know. Let's see, man. I haven't checked it out today. I imagine it's probably down. Yeah, 174. Am I finally, by some grace of God, gonna get some downside here? It looks like we finally hit 165. That was marked off for a while. It is rallying right here as well, kind of similar to Nvidia. I mean, I might actually buy a little bit of this. It's down 20% from the high. I don't want to buy here, but my rules kind of say that I have to buy at least a little bit, like small amount. But yeah, where I really want Palantir is I want it down around like 125 to 130. But again, I've had the worst track record with Palantir for the past 6 months, except for the April dump, which I got a pretty good position on. I really was intending to get a much bigger position below $100. And I just always was getting too greedy with my bids. The whole run. So, I've not had a great track record on Palantir, and for what it's worth right now, daily time frame, I mean, this is looking like it could very well be the next higher low already. Like, this is not bad as it stands. It's only bad if you see it close below this morning's low, which is about 165. You see it close below 165, sure, yeah. I think at that point, finally, we're gonna get some real downside to at least 140 or 135. But other than that, man, I don't think. Got to be respectful of, a very powerful uptrending asset. That's just the way that I think about things, I guess. Anyways, what's the Caprioli investment Bitcoin production chart be saying? I don't have it on my screen right now, and I don't really want to go to his website right now as well. Or, well, I don't know. I guess we can do it really quick. I'll do it on my other screen here. Let's see. I need to find, I actually forgot the link for it. Okay, I found it. All right. Let's bring it up. Okay. Does he still have his? Oh, he doesn't actually. Oh, they don't do their thing anymore. All right, fair enough. I respect it. He doesn't want to give away his indicators anymore. All right. Well, I suppose not so much. You as well, man. Mr. Pawlak, have a good weekend, sir. Have a good weekend indeed. Okay, for all of the TA. Hell yeah. Which was the exact chart you were looking at? Hey, you too, Asti. You too. You have a great weekend. Where was I reading that? Oh, the Bitcoin production chart. All right, maybe I do have that somewhere. Let's go here. Bitcoin production. Oh yeah, the production cost, I think. Let's see where this one's at. Oh god, okay. We are on the wrong asset. I've done goofed again. Like a real moron. Is it only on the daily? Admittedly, it's been so long since I've looked at this, I don't think I remember how to read it. I actually don't think I remember how to read it. Let's see if we just peruse it a little bit. Is there any like intuitive explanation here? No, I don't remember how to read this chart, so I should probably not have any comment on it. I don't remember. It's escaped me now, sir. The stream is down. The stream is back. We are back. Butt butter, Zen. All right, butt butter. Zen cone, Horizon token. I said it before and I'll say it again, man. I think that was your next lower high, your next macro lower high that you saw last week. I think it's down only from here, man. Like when you have a chart that generally goes down, it's always best to be betting on down, and this one goes down. So I'm going to be betting on down. But in the short term, it's a try for a bounce. It could bounce back up to $15.50. That doesn't really do anything for it, but I don't think you're going to be getting back above this $25 high anytime, at least soon. But I do think you got to bounce here. So maybe something like this, bounce into a bull trap. Again, same sort of bull trappy move. That's typically what it looks like. What else we got? My cornholios. My cornholios are all rectolios. BBAI. Yeah, Stonks. Actually, I know this one. I wanted to buy this one, but I didn't. I went with a few other things instead. But this wasn't the worst pick of them all. I mean, it's still pretty constructive here, to be fair. I do think you got some downside, though. It probably bases back off around $5.50. Don't like that monthly look, though. If you start to close below, let's say $5.50 on the monthly, that's where I'd start to get like really concerned about this thing. But you know, I think you got like a short-term downside move here, and then hopefully bounce above 5.5 at least. You know, if you see it below 5.5, I think it's going to get pretty ugly there. But for right now, give it a chance. Bitcoin's back at 97. That was quick. That was real fucking fast. Again, if it finishes the day above 98, this trade is still alive, and that is still a very high probability for target number one. So stats are stats. Stats are fucking stats. I still have kind of a hard time seeing Bitcoin close above 98 by end of day, but hey, I don't need to fucking see it. It just needs to do it. Butt Butter wants to look at Pendle. Okay. We can look at Pendle. I'm sure it's going to be great, man. I don't know when I drew this line out, but the line of destiny has been hit. It's also the white 200 simple on the weekly. Probably going to get a bounce here at least. Do I think this thing's going to reverse into an all-time high uptrend? Probably not, but I think you got to bounce off this level again, most likely. So yeah, there is that. Stats are stats. Stats are stats. Yeah, let's look at some XLV, some like real strong action. Healthcare sector here. Healthcare sector going up and away. And I think you are continuing to be in a bull market, actually. Another higher low on the monthly. Already back around your prior high. It might pull back in the short term, sure. But ultimately, I think that this thing is going to be continuing to new all-time highs in the next few months. In the next few months. Maybe even sooner. Maybe a little bit later. But I think it will make new highs. I think it is very strong. I think it is long and strong. Big Bear AI, yeah, it actually is the Big Bear AI. Is it Pi cycle top negated? I haven't really been looking at it at all this cycle, to be honest with you. I guess time will tell, man. If Bitcoin's put in a macro cycle high here, then yeah. If it hasn't, then no. But the problem with that is that we're not going to know until it's too late. Stop yelling into the mic, bro. My kids are sleeping. Stop fucking complaining. Like, what? Also, headphones. You lobotomite. You can't figure this problem out yourself? Like, what the fuck? Like, I will never cease to be amazed by the requests that are made. Okay, fuck Arrow. How about Open, the stock? Yeah, let's look at Open. I remember this one was popular like a month ago. I haven't really looked at it. I never got involved with it, and maybe I should have. It's actually among probably one of the better actors we've seen today, at least. This is looking very constructive to me. I think that whatever low you saw last Friday is probably going to be a low for a long time, man. I'm bullish as long as you're above there. Might not necessarily fucking green dildo its way exactly from here, but I think sideways and up is more likely than back down below that number. But hey, if you do take out that Friday low from last week, okay, very fucking bearish. Get ready for this thing to unfold and come all the way back down below $3 most likely. But yeah, man. Is a stream on 5 minutes? Wait, what? Looked like the start got scrubbed. I don't know. Sometimes these things get fucked up on a live stream, but I'm sure it'll come back later. Lazy ass kids should wake up. Yeah, wake those damn kids up. They need to start learning. Wake the fuck up, you damn dirty kids, you lazy fucks. Do something with your life. You want to get outworked by some Chinese kids? Come on, get to it. Do something. Make something. Start producing. Your dad's involved in shitcoins. He's fucked, so you're not going to have no fucking college fund. Start working now. Get your hands dirty, you little munchkins. Since you're super gay, you should look at Beyond Meat stock. Ooh, that's a great idea. Let me also stuff it up my asshole as well. Yeah. The good news about this is that it's producing all kinds of red dildos, and I can use those for my absolute homosexuality in the event of the highly likely continuation of this downtrend. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Litecoin for butt butter is bringing up all of the shittiest of the shit. So let's check it out, baby. Oh, yeah. Show me that shitcoin chart. I love those shitcoin charts. Gimme shitcoins. We love things that go down or just go sideways or just don't go up. We hate things that go up. Going up, bad. Going sideways, good. Going down, even more good. What are you doing here? You're going sideways and probably down. Again, debt investment overall, just sideways as fuck. Nothing interesting about this as long as you're below 135, but also not necessarily like full on super nasty, mega bearish as long as you're above November's low. Lorian says ONDS stonk. Okay. I haven't seen this one before. Let's check it out. Ondas. Pretty good here on the bounce. Very good here on the bounce. You kind of have like, I don't want to just blindly say I'm bullish on this stock, but I think that you just have a really obvious reversal point to get bearish on, and it's just today's low. Like below today's low, you're very likely going to fall apart and come back down well below $5. But as long as you're above today's low, I think that you got a pretty good shot for extending this rally towards $8.5. I mean, that's a big move. Zcash continued to extend its rally. I wonder what Benny's thinking. Benny, you okay, buddy? Continues to go. Arms Private says, what is your honest opinion on Bitcoin? We are bouncing. Do you think we probably bounce to 116 again? It's not my first target, man. I just did Lorian, sir. Is 116 my next target? No. If Bitcoin were to continue its bounce, so we're doing a hypothetical here. So I would say Bitcoin would need to close above $98,000 today for me to be entertaining the possibility of like a real reversal from here. My next sort of major area of interest would be 107.5, the high from Monday. That's where your daily trend actually does start to switch around. But until then, I mean, it is still a downtrend, and you can see a lot of fuckery in these regions. So yeah. And also, of course, we spend generally the beginning portion of this stream going fully over Bitcoin, as Mr. Ali Assi 94 has said. Thank you for that, sir. Appreciate that, sir. Danny DeSantis says, I was coming in late today. I put Krown on 2x speed. OMY sounds like Krown on all the coffee and all the jitters that would go with it. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll put myself on 4x speed, and that's probably what hell sounds like. Can you look at NASDAQ? Yeah, we can look at NASDAQ, but I think we shut it off after that, man. Or maybe very, very soon. Let's see. What's NAS doing over here? Back above 25. Pretty heroic bounce so far. But again, you know, we have to acknowledge here that it did trade back down to that prior low from Thursday of last week. So you got a lower high already in there. You already traded to that prior low. Yes, I want to see it close below that low to get bearish on it. But, you know, even if this bounce gets back up here to 25.4, that's not a higher high. It is, I have to be on bearish reversal watch as long as you're below 25,800. So if you see something like this, it rallies up here and then turns down again, I think that's your breakdown signal. Until then, I guess there's some hopium here, but this is the critical number. This one right here, that price action pivot. So yeah. All right. Tobo says CLSK, bounce bear trap target, please. Bear trap? Bear trap target? I don't think it's a bear trap. I think if anything, you'd see a bull trap here. Generally, I think, you know, if you do bounce from here, maybe like 13.5-ish, I don't think you're going to be going much above there. Yeah, something like that. I'll read through a few more of these. Yeah, we're in Florida right now, actually. Florida's pretty cool. Giuseppe says 87 to 82, then reversal. It's a little bit lower than what I'm thinking before reversal, but fair enough. Could be. Could be. Again, overall, you know, bull trap, you mean. I don't know. Let's go back to Bitcoin really quick here. Well, in this case, I mean, your bull trap for Bitcoin was at 116.5. If anything, you'd have a bear trap down around here if Bitcoin can rally back above, you know, at least 108 or 107.5, but it's pretty far away right now, man. But that would confirm a bear trap in my eyes. But yeah. What car did you get? I haven't actually settled on a car just yet, but I'll go to the dealership this weekend and make a decision. We could look at Ethereum. We actually haven't looked at Ethereum in like such a long time. No one gives a fuck about Ethereum anymore. But I guess it makes sense. Like, you know, it's just like any old random shitcoin, I guess, nowadays. Yeah, back down around 3,200. So we said last month that if Ethereum took out the, I think it was September low, then not good. And I have to say still not good. Anyways, I don't know. Most things want to try a bounce right now. I think that this thing could easily bounce to 3,300, honestly. But again, you know, it's like the trend is your friend. You got downtrends as long as you're below this lower high here at 3650. So, you know, bouncing up to 3350 doesn't help you. That's the problem with these things. Like, you can get these bounces, but they don't flip you around. I'm not saying that it can't bounce back above 3650. It's just be aware where those switches actually do happen. I guess a somewhat good thing is that you are building on some bullish divergence. So it really wouldn't take too much to get most things bounce. What about Bitcoin? Does Bitcoin have it? Potential if it can reverse like literally from here. So it is there. But yeah. Savage Geese on YouTube for car videos. Absolutely phenomenal. Fuck yeah, man. Thank you for that. I've really been appreciating a lot of the car knowledge or tips. The tips. Tim's Kitchen tips. Car tips. Yeah, it actually really is helpful. And I actually do watch these videos and actually do listen to a lot of these comments. And it has been invaluable, honestly. Aaron's back. He's looking at virtual. This was some AI shitcoin from this cycle that was very popular and probably not so much anymore. And I can only wonder why. I can only speculate why. Yeah, the downtrend of destiny has set in, sir. High, low, lower high. Slightly higher low, lower high again. I think the bias here is on another lower low, man. But it does a bounce here. I mean, things can bounce within a general downtrend, of course, but overall, I think that you will come back down to 70 cents and probably lower over time. Do you bounce here and try another move towards 130 or 140 before then? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that really matters, though, to be honest. Anyways, all right. We'll read through a few more of these, then we shall call it a day. Asti is asking about ARC W. So I'm guessing this is Kathy Wood's shitcoin, but what is the W on it? Next generation internet. Okay. I like the idea. Should rally off here. I mean, you're testing these prior lows from the summer and, generally going to try at least some rallies from those regions. But again, keep in mind here that you're in a downtrend. You have lower lows and lower highs. This thing could rally up, fill the gap at 163 easily, and then come back down. I wouldn't even call it bullish if it reclaimed this price action pivot here at 167 or 168, because you still got this gap here. This gap here at about 175, 176. That's kind of where I'd be really on guard if it does put in a real bull trap. But give it a chance to bounce here. It should bounce more from here. I'd really think so. It's just be aware of where like the actual reversal points are, because I'm a lot more inclined to say, Asti, that after a bounce, this thing will come back down closer to the green 55 at some point, which is going to be maybe around like 140 by the time it gets there. And maybe that would be like a real low. Let's see what a monthly looks like. Yeah, monthly really is a swing high here, right? I mean, this is very obviously a doji dildo with continuation below and also breaking the 5 EMA. So for me, I have to be looking sideways and down. Yeah, there's probably bounces in between, sure, but I don't think that this is going to be like just reverse back to straight new all-time highs. No, I think it's going to be something like this, maybe bounce, but come down and hopefully put in a swing low, somewhere above like 130 or 140, something like that. Aaron Shana Zarari says, sir, how many alts are in daily bullish? I'm not going to look through all the alts, man. I can't do that. If you could just give me like one, I could look at that. The thing is, will it even work? Hey, in the worst conditions, no, it won't. It's just hopium. All right, you're looking at ARB. Okay. I like genuinely need to take a massive dump, so we need to shut it off after this, to be honest. Look, it doesn't matter if you get bullish divergence on this, because you're playing a fool's game. It's down only. And even when you get bullish divergence, you might get a small pop, but trading those is very difficult, and you're better off waiting for a bullish asset, an asset that actually has a history of uptrending, to give you bullish divergence, and trading that than trading bullish divergence on an asset that only goes down. Because look at this. Yeah, you do get bullish divergence sometimes, but they all fail. They do get some pretty big bounces, though, to be fair. They really do. But this is down. You're going to make a lot more money shorting this thing than you are longing it, man. That's kind of my point. Is it going to get bullish divergence here? Is there bullish divergence possible? Technically, yes, because you do have new lows with higher lows on the weekly RSI. But we would need to wait for this thing to put in something something resembling a reversal, and it is not. It's continuation right now. That's the problem with front running divergences. People will call it divergence before you confirm a local low or local high. And yeah, if you're right, you're going to look like a fucking genius and you're going to have a humongous P&L. But if you're wrong, it's just a continuation move. And that's more likely to happen anyways. It's, in my experience, it's better to wait for a confirmed, in this case, local low, which you do not have right now. This is continuation of the downside. This thing wants to make new lows. If anything, I feel very strongly it will fill that wick low from October at some point. Anyways, I want to wish everyone a very, very homosexual weekend. We will be having our own homosexual weekends, and I very much appreciate everyone joining in. I need to take a massive, massive dump. I've been holding this one in for the whole damn stream. I love everyone here. You're all beautiful. You're all amazing. You're all homosexuals just like me, and we will look to get back together on Monday. Unfortunately, not with a live stream, because I will be in a different destination for just a short amount of time. Oh, and then tomorrow, I should let you know, tomorrow is big Fibbo Swanee video. So big Fibbo Swanee video coming out, which I'm very, very excited about. So yeah. Thanks as always to our lovely moderators. We will be back on next week. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.